what else would you say you're trying to promote with this outlet that you've created for yourself?
With Central Coasting with Adri, I feel like I just want to promote happiness.
Okay.
And I want people, like, when they look at my videos, be like, oh, that's like a really cool spot that I want to take my family to, or that's a good spot that like date night. I had posted a video on YouTube of Big Sur, and some guy just recently messaged me and was like, I just want to say, like, I know you're not posting videos on YouTube, but I think it's amazing what you're doing, and you actually gave me the idea for where to propose to my wife. And I was like, wow, like, that's amazing. Okay. Yeah, so.
Take that in cash.
Just be like, I did that.
Adri, welcome to Two Dads in a Pod.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
It's okay. You don't have to be like, okay. You don't have to be nice to us.
I mean, I've seen a couple of your Instagram posts and stuff. It was funny because when Miguel when we were talking about it, he's like, yeah, I have a friend who's an influencer. And I was like, looked around and I was like, hey, is that the Central?
It's been popping up on your.
It's been popping up on my feed, and I said,
"That's a good sign."
Yeah, and I said, "Is that?" I was like, "Is that the Central Coast girl?" And he goes, "Yeah," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Influencer. I don't know about influencer, but
I mean,
that's technically what we
looked at your stats, so it looks pretty good.
Oh, nice.
As far as somebody asks us like, "Oh, what does she do?" It's like influencer.
Yeah. See, that's what
that's true.
So tell us a little, tell us who you are, where people can find you, and then we'll go from there.
So my name is Adri. I am the face behind Central Coasting with Adri. I post daily videos sharing all the amazing things to do in the Central Coast, from hikes, wineries, breweries, restaurants, family-friendly activities. I cover it all.
Awesome. My big question to begin with, financially, how do you handle going to all these places?
Seriously. Do you have a card where you're just like, hey, press?
This post
we should think about that. We should think about that.
This post is sponsored by my fiance, Derek Wells.
Okay, there you go. No, fiance then.
Yes, fiance.
Okay.
But it is nice because now that I'm getting more recognition, like I went wine tasting the other day at a winery, and they comp the tasting and they comp the bottles. So
because they knew who you introduced yourself, or at least they knew who you were.
They knew who I was, and I had a friend. I didn't even know he worked there, but he works at this winery, and he's like, I haven't seen you in so long. Like, let me cover everything. And I was like, oh, okay.
Helps to know people, right?
I know. It's not.
How did so how did that come about? Like, how did you first think about doing this?
So I contemplated about starting a YouTube channel for about 5 years, and I was just really scared, and I just kept doubting it. And I'd be like, oh, next year I'll do it. I'll do it. Right now is not the good time. And then finally I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I set up an email for my YouTube channel, but I still didn't know what I was going to do. And there was one day when we had just left the water park, and I was in the back of my brother's car, and my sister-in-law was there too. And I was like, you know what? We should go here. We should go like over here, like for our next adventure. And I was like, oh my God, you guys, like, this is what my channel is going to be, like sharing the beautiful Central Coast. And we kept bouncing names around, like what we would call it. And it was actually my sister-in-law, who's my best friend, or soon to be sister-in-law. She's like, well, what about like Central Coasting with Adri? And I was like, oh my God, that's perfect. And
origin story.
Yeah. And it just kind of evolved from there. I started posting on YouTube in 2017, and it was kind of hard for me to see the growth there, and I feel like making YouTube videos is a lot of work, and I don't think people realize how much it is to become a content creator, and every day, like, just come up with something new. So then I was like, well, let me try Instagram a little bit, and I was posting on Instagram as well, and then kind of the same thing, wasn't really seeing a lot of growth. And then I actually went into the movie theaters one day, which was like a couple months ago maybe.
Yeah.
And I was doing a reel of like the best or things to do in Paso Robles. Yeah. And Miguel was like, are you on TikTok? And I was like, no.
I'm on TikTok for sure.
I was like,
TikTok.
I I was like, I've posted one
This
thing.
thing with TikTok.
on TikTok.
We can talk about that too.
I've talked so much about it, but anyway, I think everybody's already heard me talk about it too much. Anyway, sorry, continue.
No, it's okay. And I had like 2 videos on TikTok, and then it's like, no, you need to be consistent with it. So I actually started being more consistent with it, and now one of my videos has over 100,000 views, which is really, really cool.
Saw that. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
How many YouTube subscribers do you have? Do you know?
YouTube subscribers, last time I checked, was like 500. Not a lot.
Way more
It's
than
way
ours.
more than ours.
We got 17.
17,
Yeah.
a whopping 17.
We hit
people.
we hit those double digits real quick.
Yeah,
Though.
we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, TikTok is just there's so much attention on there right now, and it's just ridiculous. However, I think with their stories that they just started doing, I think that's gonna backfire, to be honest. But
I don't like
that's
that.
on my head.
I don't like that. I feel like TikTok is completely different from like Facebook and Instagram, and now that they're like starting those stories, I don't like that because it's too much like Instagram.
Yeah,
Well, it's just another social media thing. They have to keep up with each other.
yeah.
You know,
true,
like, because I mean, if you think about it, like at one time I had Snapchat. I don't have it anymore, but you know, that was the thing. And then Instagram started doing their Instagram stories, which is basically a freaking Snapchat.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that
So,
true.
disappears.
It disappears afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I was on Instagram and they came out with stories, and nobody ever posted stories at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I would see 1 or 2 friends like posting about like their dinner plate or something. It was like the most random thing. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is going to be a big thing. And now it's like you can't find the end if you follow a lot of people
That's true, yeah.
on how many stories there are, because that's where everybody lives now.
Yeah.
It's insane. And now TikTok's trying to do the stories, which I did see somebody's story on there, and they were like, oh my God, TikTok just started putting stories on there. Am I leaving Instagram? She's like asking herself that. And I'm just like,
Well, I mean, a lot of big creators say like TikTok, I mean, Instagram's out. It's like all about TikTok right now.
yeah. Well,
I mean, that's
no.
subjected to. I mean, it's like the.
It's about TikTok, man.
Sorry, it's like
Are you against TikTok?
I think you're against social media, no?
No, not really against social media. It just TikTok is just another. To me, it's just this trend that it's annoying. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, and it makes me sound old, obviously, because it's not like it panders a lot to the younger crowd. The younger crowd uses it a lot.
Yeah.
But like, you know, here's my age here. Remember Vine?
I never got into Vine.
Okay,
I saw a lot of videos.
Yeah.
I
about
saw a lot of
Vine.
videos from Vine, and that's
Yeah.
basically TikTok. It's
yeah,
basically
yeah.
that.
basically TikTok.
So like when TikTok came out, I remember I was like, "Isn't that just Vine?"
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
just like, but that's like the. This is just here's the thing, it's not for me. It's my generation. You know, like I just feel like it's not for my generation.
Yeah.
Our
Well,
generation, I guess, if you will.
If I'm being completely honest, if I wasn't doing what I'm doing, I wouldn't be on social media because it took me a really long time to finally get on social media. I think I started my first or Instagram in 2017, and yeah.
You know, and my thing with social media is I just have one outlet, which is Instagram. I used to have Facebook at one point. I had Snapchat and then Instagram. And then at one point I just said, I just need at least one.
Yeah.
And the thing is, what I hated about Facebook was somebody puts a post or no, they liked somebody, you know, liked something and it's on your feed. And it's like,
Oh, even if you don't like it?
even if you didn't like it, that's how it was for Facebook.
Oh.
But when I
Well,
was still on Facebook,
There were settings on there that I had to adjust.
that's still a lot of work.
He's like,
So
I don't
it's
wanna do
inconvenient.
that.
It's
Yeah.
inconvenient that I have to do
Yeah.
a setting for everybody. And I'm just like, you know, somebody's like, I just took a dump. And you're like, oh, it's on your, it's on.
You know, the algorithm also shows you things that you usually watch too. So whoever took it, if it's something,
no. I'm talking about.
What are you watching?
Obviously,
start cooking steaks.
You know,
Steaks.
no, this is before the algorithm stuff. I took myself off of Facebook by like 2011.
Okay.
20, you know, maybe got on it again and then saw how I was just doing it. And I'm like, I'm really not just into
You
it.
still have Facebook, right?
No,
You know?
I
Then
stopped
who
having
did
a
it add as an admin on the Facebook page? It has
Instagram-
Walter
well-
with your like picture doing this or something.
It's Instagram. Instagram is owned by Facebook.
Yeah, but on
I don't-
Facebook.
I don't post anything on Facebook. So,
So weird.
I think it's just picking it up
This
from the
Two Dads in a
Instagram
Pod
music.
is on Facebook too.
Yeah, well, that's you do that, man. I can talk shit. I'm talking shit about it, but I mean, here we are. Miguel is using.
I know.
it.
And you started a Twitter account, and
well, yeah. See, no, the Twitter. You know what? Yeah, I guess
Twitter's kind of making.
I lied.
Twitter is funny. Like,
I guess I lied here. I do have a Twitter, but it was mostly for like video game news.
Oh yeah.
And then the two dads, which I'm barely even doing. I'm just really bad with social media.
Oh, that's
I Instagram is the easiest one for me. It's, people post pictures, not just updates about what they're doing.
Yeah.
Granted, the one about saying I'm taking a dump is not the best one that I could bring up. But I did see before people were like, ran out of toilet paper today.
On
like
Instagram or Facebook?
I have seen that on Instagram, but like on Facebook, it was like your status was I ran out of toilet paper.
The Facebook would like say, "Hey, tell people what you're doing or thinking or whatever."
Yeah, status report.
Status it's like Miguel is like, it would literally type it out, and I was like, I'll just fill in the rest. Going to get dinner, and that's how it pops up on memories now. Going to get dinner, like. Even though in my head I was registering Miguel is going to go get dinner.
You're talking to the third person.
I'm talking, going to get dinner.
I feel like sometimes people use Facebook like almost like as a diary, and you're like,
yeah,
I don't want to know those things.
Well, this I think it's brilliant that they did the memory thing, because some of my best work is in the past. So I literally copy and paste.
Goatee, man.
Yeah, yeah.
The goatee.
I copy the goatee. God, the goatee. I copy and paste like funny one-liners that I had, and I'll post it again on Twitter, take a screenshot, resize it for Instagram, and then people are like, "Oh, it's so funny." But back then I only got one like kind of thing. It's just, I think it's brilliant that they brought that back, and also some harsh memories in there too.
Yeah.
Like I posted my cell phone number on there because I wanted to get people together for football. Delete that old post.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's what made me get off of Facebook. And I felt with Instagram, you have to make an effort to put a picture and then subtext or like a status update. And that I felt back then would just take people away from like easier, just like put in a status update and that's it. But either way, I was just getting mad at the whole, like my feed was just getting taken over by people liking something that I hate. It just had nothing to do with me.
I feel like that's LinkedIn right now too. It keeps showing me other people's like posts.
LinkedIn, yeah.
People you might like.
The only reason why I have a LinkedIn is just through work.
So you actually have 3
one wasn't even a thing. I just found out that LinkedIn
was for like resumes and stuff like that.
No, LinkedIn is my job. I think I'm on LinkedIn because I guess maybe through the database of where I work. It just has it. Yeah. I've never created one. I don't remember ever creating one. I have my password with it, and I can get into it, but it's the same password as the one for work. I believe so.
Under the umbrella of your
something like that. I really don't remember. I just noticed that it was there.
I wonder what email they use, because isn't it connected to
work email?
Oh, okay.
Work
that's
email.
Probably that. I don't. You should probably ask them like, "Hey, yo, did you guys?
Also,
was it?
I probably did.
The terms and conditions.
I also don't care. Because I don't.
Like, what are they gonna do? Say
I don't
bad
use
things?
it. I don't use it, so I really don't care.
Use your name to say bad things to other people.
I mean, if they did, you get down to the bottom of it. I'd be like, I didn't write that.
I don't know who that
is. So, do you? So, I watched a couple of your videos on there, and you have a son, correct?
I do. His name's Jackson.
How old is he?
He just turned 3 on St. Patrick's Day. Yeah.
Oh, okay, my daughter just turned 3. And my youngest did too. Do you feel like this is kind of a nice, I guess, diary for him to see later on, like of places to go?
Go. Yeah. So on YouTube, it's kind of it's almost really special because it's like almost like a diary. So I was watching an old video of him like crawling around, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool that like when he grows up, he can like look back at this home movie almost.
Yeah. Let's see. What was the next thing I had here?
You're on a roll, dude. Come on.
Am I roll? Okay. All right. And have you gone through any issues going through like places that you go to and
any attitudes from business owners?
Yeah.
Because I've heard that before too. An influencer shows up and they'll make their proposals. Hey, if you let me stay here for the night, like at a hotel, if you let me stay here, I'll promote you on all my social medias, blah, blah, blah. And then I read one time an owner was like, go to hell or something like that.
I
Like
actually
straight
just
up.
I saw that.
When you go to
this-
places, do
yeah.
you like is it the first thing that you go up to people and be like, I'm a social media?
So I just say, hi, my name's Adri. I'm a local vlogger. I share all the amazing things to do in the Central Coast. Like, is it okay? I always ask, like, is it okay?
Oh, just if you can film and
if
stuff
I could
in there.
take a couple of videos and
Naturally.
Yeah, normally everyone says yes. I did post a video of Morro Bay, I think like in 2018. And this was just like a random person was like, why, like Morro Bay doesn't allow drones. I was like, well, I don't have any drone footage
It's a fucking phone.
in my video.
That's a bird up there.
Yeah. And then recently too, like on an Instagram post, this local like kind of just went off on me and was like, why are you sharing this local secret? And I was
it's
like,
going to bring people in. Yeah,
I
I've
was
heard
like-
about that stuff too.
I was like,
Was
well,
it a local secret?
it was the caves, the Pismo Beach caves.
Oh.
I
And
think
I'm
at this
like,
point everybody knows about
yeah,
it.
and to me, I'm like, well, it's no different than Pirates
Not a
Cove.
secret.
It's it's no different than like Pirates Cove, you know, like
Yeah.
like people know of these things, like, and I'm like, there, I'm always like, you can't really tell me what I can and can't post just because you're a local, you know? And I mean, I feel like the people that I'm trying to share all my stuff with is like people who are like-minded like me, who respect the planet that we live on and clean up after themselves. Like they're not going to go graffiti the caves, and that's not what I'm trying to promote.
So what else would you say you're trying to promote with this outlet that you've created for yourself?
With Central Coasting with Adri, I
Yeah.
feel like I just want to promote happiness.
Okay.
And I want people, like, when they look at my videos, be like, oh, that's like a really cool spot that I want to take my family to, or that's a good spot that like date night. I had posted a video on YouTube of Big Sur, and some guy just recently messaged me and was like, I just want to say, like, I know you're not posting videos on YouTube, but I think it's amazing what you're doing, and you actually gave me the idea for where to propose to my wife. And I was like, wow, like,
What?
that's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Take that in cash.
You'd be like, I did that.
Oh, that's nice.
so that I feel like that's really cool.
They
Like,
just
I'm
put like ideas to propose with Adri.
I know.
yeah.
Tag me.
Yeah, that's a good. That's a good. Have you ever gone to a business? You know, did the speech, took video, and then I'm not sure if like businesses have an expectation to see this at some point on social media, but have you ever gone to a business and be like, okay, this wasn't that great of a business. I'm not posting
I'm
this.
not posting this.
Have you ever had that
Let me
yet?
try
You have your
to
blooper reel.
It's
Oh my
Your top 10 of places not to go
Not
to?
to go to. So again, like I just try to promote the
Yeah,
positive
yeah, the positive
aspect
stuff.
of
Yeah,
it.
obviously.
Yeah.
This is more on
And
like the extra footage
then-
that you might
yeah,
have.
there's so if I ever have like a bad encounter with a business, then I just don't promote it.
just don't
And I
promote
feel
it.
like there's so many other places that you could go to.
That's a good way to do
Yeah.
it without having to put shade on people.
Yeah,
You're just
there,
like, whatever.
there was one incident.
Uh-huh.
So last March, I was doing, I was doing this Central Coasting on a budget. I started it during the pandemic, and I decided to do like inexpensive wine tasting in Paso Robles. And I had researched a whole bunch of different wineries to see what their tasting fee was. And I found this really pretty winery. And I went, and again, I introduced myself, and they're like, yeah, like even the winemaker gave me like a free bottle of wine. He was like super excited to see the video, and I liked it so much. And I was like, oh, I want to bring my brother and my sister-in-law here and my son Jackson. And so we scheduled tasting, and the tasting was great. And I had put the video up before, and while we were getting ready to leave, my son was like playing with trucks, and he threw a truck into the bush. And then this man who was making hamburgers came over and was told us, like, don't do that. There could be snakes in there. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. I understand that. And my son, being 2 years old at the time, just like takes off running. And so I'm like running after him, and it's the guy who's making the cook and my brother and my sister-in-law. They're left behind. And he says, look at him dashing for the border, takes me back.
Wow.
And I was already gone, and my brother and my sister-in-law were just left behind, just like, and he just walks away, just completely stunned, like speechless. And my brother was
Was
like,
the cook that said it? He said? The guy
Yeah.
was making.
I'm guessing he was
it gets-
Caucasian.
Yeah, I was
It gets
gonna
better.
say. Oh, okay. Hold on. Sorry for interrupting. Keep going.
So then my brother was just like, "Oh wow, like that's racism's still a thing, you know?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so then I come back and I'm like, "You guys, it's fine. Like, I mean, everyone here was like super friendly. The staff was friendly. The wine's great. Like, it's fine, you know." And it sucks because like as a Hispanic, whatever you do in that situation, you're kind of put in like
Yeah.
you're in the wrong. If I go up to him and say something, oh my God, look at that crazy Latina, you know.
Yeah.
If I don't say
Take off the
anything,
earrings.
I know, take off the hoops.
Accent changes a little bit.
But we can say that because we're Mexicans.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So then we go to our next winery, and then after that we had a family party, and I remember I was telling my family, and like the look on their face when I told them was just like, you didn't say anything? And I was like, I know, like it was just like eating me up. So then I was like, you know what? It's social media. I could find out who this guy is. So I get home and I'm looking for him, and I literally find him in like 30 seconds. It turns out it's the owner of the winery. The owner of the winery. So at that point, I had already put the video up, and the video had gotten like a lot of views. I think it was like already at 5,000 views, which is a lot for my YouTube channel. So I was like, well, what do I do? So what I did, I just edited them out of it, and in the description, I just put, I do not recommend this winery. Like, I don't promote, like, you know, like, or agree with like the racial slur, and like it was directed toward my son. I put exactly what happened and just left it at that.
What was the? Has there been any outcome with that?
Actually, yeah. So I actually also wrote a review on Yelp.
Okay.
And so this happened last year, and recently, someone like messaged me, and they're like, "Hey, I saw your review on Yelp. Like, someone said that like something happened. Like, can you tell me what happened?" And I was like, "Well, if you want to know the full story, it's like on my YouTube channel, you know."
Yeah.
And it was cool because someone else had told her like, "Don't go there. This is what happened," and you know, just like don't promote it. And I feel like with so many wineries in Paso Robles, like there's so many other places that aren't
There's a
racist.
bunch here. There's a bunch here.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
And
It's competition.
yeah.
I mean,
And so that was kind of it. And it's weird because like the wife's owner follows me on Instagram, and that winery
Still?
follows me on Instagram. Yeah.
I don't think they're aware that.
That
They-
it happened.
probably-
Maybe it didn't happen. Or I mean,
'Cause
it
there's-
did
there's-
happen, but
You said last March, right?
last March, yeah. And I
Okay.
went to go look for the Yelp review, and it's not there. So maybe they took it down.
Oh, they probably they.
So with Yelp, since I work for, since I manage Park Cinemas, taking down a Yelp review is very difficult.
Mhm.
The only time I ever see like an original review somewhere else is the unrecommended reviews.
Oh.
So if you go further down or find that option, it'll
Yeah.
show you all the ones that like people put like people don't recommend this review because
Because
it's
of this.
inaccurate or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So double check because maybe they have
Well,
friends that thumbs downed it or whatever.
something.
Yeah.
I'm considered like a local guide on Google, but I don't know. Maybe like you said,
Really?
if people, yeah.
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 awesome.
It's Google is a hidden tool as far as local guides because
Yeah.
Crystal does a lot of reviews on there. That's my
Mhm.
wife. She does a lot of reviews, and people are like reacting to it and stuff like that. So she gets excited that people are actually listening
Yeah.
to her and stuff like that. Because a lot of the times, like, I think reviews are given such a bad rep because there's a lot of people who just like to vent on their own experience. But when you're like have like logistical like facts and all these things, like the person did actually say that
Yeah.
to my 2-year-old
To my
kid,
2-year-old son, yeah.
and thinking that it was okay. It's not, and they need to know that. And that's
Yeah.
it's plain and simple. It's not like you're gonna go like, hey, go burn that place down. Like
Yeah,
that's
no,
not
at all. It's like don't go there. And
just don't go there.
I would hate for someone to go there and just experience what I
Of course,
experienced.
yeah.
You know,
Nobody would want that.
Yeah.
Especially when they're on a budget.
Yeah.
They wasted that money.
Exactly. Don't.
Yeah, no,
go
seriously.
somewhere else. Yeah.
And I'm assuming it was a white guy, right?
It was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
I mean, it really doesn't matter. It's just something that.
Well, Paso still has a lot of I'm assuming it was like at least 40 years older or older. Like,
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
he was
He
Yeah.
had to be like
middle age or higher.
I mean, this
60.
town is
So
a pretty conservative. It's a pretty conservative town. I mean, it's
yeah, it still is. There's a lot of
still
like
is. There's
hit,
still a
you
lot.
know, like what's that one phrase where you're like you're something but you don't like to show it, like there's a phrase, there's like a not undercover but like a hidden, or oh my god, I'm gonna think about it and it'll come up later.
It's gonna come.
It's gonna come back later.
It's gonna come
I'm gonna
back
just
tomorrow.
shout it in the middle of
Yeah.
nothing.
We're gonna be like, what?
The
Yeah,
fuck?
work.
Sorry.
The theater dims down. I got it.
Yeah, you mother. I'm just kidding. I got it. But there's one time I was growing up. I took the dollar bus a lot
Mhm.
when I was a kid, to school, to any kind of events and stuff like that, and I remember my car wasn't working for some reason or another, so I had to take the bus to work, and the guy is over by Oak Park. The guy stops at like J&J's.
Mhm.
Right? Somebody pulled the handle, stops at J&J's, picks me up, drops that person off. Goes to the next one, somebody, pulls a little handle,
Yeah.
whatever, or the little string. All right, drops him off. And then like 2 blocks over, there's another stop. The girl, a young girl pulls it. And he gets upset, like visually upset that she didn't get off
The one before.
the one before,
Yeah.
because what's the difference walking 2 blocks? And then he said something to the extent of like freaking tacos or something. Like he described them as tacos or like beans or something like that. It was something like food,
Mhm.
Mexican dish, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just like sitting right behind him, like, really? Like
Yeah.
this is still okay?
It seriously like takes you back because you're like
Yeah.
really we're still
What is
doing
this,
this.
1950s?
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
it still
it's-
happens.
it's-
I mean,
yeah.
it's nowhere near being over and done with. I mean, it's just
I don't think it'll ever go away.
it will never go away. I mean, I've thought about like even if the world was very, interracial, like intermixed,
Mhm.
we'd still humanity would still find something about another one that they just don't like, and they just
Yeah.
it would be it's a vicious cycle that would just keep on going,
Yeah.
even if everybody
Well-
was the same. I mean,
When I was between 10th, I want to say 9th and 10th grade, I went to this leadership institute, which they dealt with sexism, ageism, racism, socialism, all that stuff, and it was some really intense experiments that we did, like upper, middle, lower class, and all that stuff. And I remember they were telling, yeah, things that you never realize, the dynamics in the room where people sit makes once you start really dissecting it, you're like, oh my God, Mexicans on one side, white people on the other side. And you start thinking about it's like anywhere you go, you start seeing those dynamics. And granted, when I came back from that, I was a little bit more upset with the world. So anytime like a white person was talking to me, I just looked at him like, But they talked about how racism becomes a thing, right? It starts with a whole bunch of people or a group of people being stereotyped, based on what they commonly do. Mexicans do tend to jump the border a lot or like illegally cross and stuff like that for one reason or another. So that starts becoming a stereotype, which leads to racism, and obviously you try to correct it where you can. But at any moment, like you can think about any kind of stereotype, and if you really start hating on that kind of specific group, it can become some kind of ism.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
If you go to wine tasting and stuff like that, and you see a 35-year-old white lady drinking a little too much, it's okay for society. The society allows it a little bit. But if you see a Mexican guy on the porch on his second beer or something, that's now a stereotype of Mexicans, drinking, being lazy or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just the way you used to all of a sudden translate it.
I mean, hell, even the white lady, like you said, she'd be a Karen probably.
Yeah,
That's already.
That's true.
We're already
It's
on the
like,
same. We're already on the same page there.
yeah,
So
yeah. I've seen a lot of ladies come into the theater really loud after going wine tasting to watch a movie, and to everybody else, it's like they're having fun. I'm like, no, to us, the business, like we have to have them quiet in there so we can.
that's true.
So people.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where like it just depends where you're at too. If you're in Florida, people are gonna think we're Cuban.
That's true.
You know, just talk a little bit faster.
Depending on pigmentation. Too,
Oye, chico.
Oye, chico. George. Oye, George. No, but that's the stereotype. We were just racist to our own kind.
Didn't.
Yeah, I just did.
Technically, it's not our own kind, but no, I see your point.
They're a sub-kind.
See, now we just fucked up. Now you just fucked up.
Okay, we gotta cut this.
So, yeah, no, but that's the picture that's always painted every single day as far as when we walk around anywhere. You know, we can. It sucks, but like, let's say there's like a short Asian lady driving and she's swerving a little bit. You kind of in your mind, you're already thinking about Family Guy and that one scene where it's like, I don't know if there's people on my left side, but I'm gonna go left.
Oh yeah.
Crashes everybody. It's just a stereotype turns into racism, but racism is more like based on hate for sure.
It's hate.
It's
That's what comes with that.
Yeah,
Stereotypes. I mean, can kind of go either way.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that article that like the LA Times posted or wrote about Paso?
No.
Just recently, they said, what was it? I saw
The non-racist city. I'm just kidding.
no that it was.
I mean,
I'll have to look for it. I'll have to look.
I
for
hope
it.
this doesn't deter.
Is this on Fox News?
I really hope this doesn't deter anybody from coming here.
No,
I mean,
it's an amazing city.
It's an amazing.
I'll have to look for it.
But you know what? You'll find that anywhere you go.
You will find that anywhere you go.
You will find that anywhere you go.
Yeah.
I just
even within our own like ethnicity, like
100%.
it's insane. My own family would talk about darker Mexicans as being like the black sheep, so to speak. And I'm just like, dang, that's messed up. And I look at my skin, I'm a little darker than everybody else. I'm like, no wonder. No wonder you guys are mean to me.
No.
Yeah, it's definitely like super engraved in everybody. On
has been history.
Yeah,
has really
it's
fucked
history.
everybody up.
I mean, do you guys remember the movie Antoine Fisher, or at least heard of it?
I never saw it. No.
There's a scene that is like, if you like, so he's like knocking on the door and they answer. And he goes, "I'm still here. I'm still strong. I'm still standing." That's like one of the popular scenes. But Denzel Washington is like in the military with him as a superior officer, and he goes, "Read this book about slavery or whatever." And he's like, slave owners used to, punish the slaves. Slaves used to punish their kids, and so on and so forth. It's like transferred over. That's why this is happening, and it's you're the one who ends that cycle, kind of thing.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, definitely.
And are there any other places? I mean, there's so many, but any other places that like on your list
to go to?
Oh,
the list is like infinite.
Yeah. Is there anyone that you're kind of leaving, you're like pushing back more and more because you want to do a more full-on experience? Because I know a lot of it is like clips here. But I know there's some places that either it's too big or you need more like video on it.
Yeah.
Just because of the experience. Like Sensorio. Pictures, fine. Videos, fine. But like if it was freaking something with like immersive experience, I'm sure it's gonna be a little different.
Yeah, different, definitely. And that's what I keep hearing. Like people just want. Well, I thought people wanted to see like multiple things in a video.
Yeah.
But people are like, no, I just want to see one thing.
Yeah.
Just
so
do
they,
like
So they get the better experience,
the
more
experience
and
actually get
So how much time, because you have to obviously edit your own videos and stuff. How much role do you keep? And then let me rephrase that. How much do you keep and then
do I delete?
Yeah. Like how much is it deleted?
So it's actually a lot. So with Instagram they say they say 18 seconds is like all you have, to like really capture someone. Actually, 15. Oh, okay. Well, it's actually you have 2 seconds to capture your audience attention.
Yeah.
And like the videos that do best are like 18 to 15 seconds.
Yeah.
So I go and I record probably like 5 minutes, and then I put it all into my editing software, and I'm like, okay, I have to take 5 minutes and make it down to 15 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of deleting and
yeah.
Do you feel like, so some of the videos that I've seen, you usually have your son with you. Mm-hmm. Like when you're out doing all these things, is it predominantly with him?
Yes.
A lot of times.
Yeah, predominantly with
Do
him.
you feel that this sometimes takes away from, like, because you're there in the moment, you obviously have him with you, but you have your camera, you have your phone out, you do it with your phone, right? How much of that have you thought about where, like, it's like, well, I am spending time here, but it's like,
Oh, a lot.
you know,
So,
how has that affected you in any way? Like,
definitely, because I mean, sometimes I'll be in this, you know, it's kind of sad. I'll be editing a video and I'm like, I don't even remember this. You know?
yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm
No,
You're not
really,
in the
and-
moment. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, even my fiance will be like, okay, are we going out for Central Coasting with Adri, or are we going out for
Yeah.
date night?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well,
Yeah, I know, right? Like,
I
you're.
need the footage.
No, I mean, we're absorbed in I would assume this is more like a hobby to you.
Yeah, I mean, eventually I would love to make it like
Obviously, yeah. I mean, who
obviously.
wouldn't want to make a hobby at the same?
Yeah, we're trying to.
Yeah.
we're
fingers crossed.
You know,
sponsors at some point.
Yeah,
you know.
at one point we like to be talked about. You know, our own cars. I don't know.
Yeah, we were on Joe Rogan. You know, this is my. You know,
Okay,
projecting.
I know
Projecting.
you're-
We're on Joe Rogan
I know
now.
your thing is you would love to be on Joe Rogan.
I love Joe Rogan.
Just without the weed smoking part.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but
That's before.
But it does, and honestly, it is pretty draining. Like sometimes, like, and people
Yeah.
are like, "Oh, you just make videos," and I'm like, "No," but it's like I have to think of what someone else is gonna find
Yeah.
intriguing and like, "Oh, this is cool. I want to see it," you know,
not just what you like,
not
but what
just
other
what
people
I
like.
like.
Yeah.
And so, oh,
Here's an idea on what people find and what they like. Do the top 10 restrooms in the central.
Restrooms?
Yeah. You know how big of a
Restrooms?
difference it makes if people go into a restroom? No, I'm saying top 10. That's why you don't want to post the bad ones. Talking about taking a dump.
I know, I was like, that's the post you like, huh?
No. Okay. You know how many times
No,
people
I
go to the
understand he has
theater
a point. I noticed he has
and
a
they're
point.
like, oh my God, your restrooms are so nice. But if you go somewhere else where the restroom's like terrible, like you're
Mhm.
probably not going to go back.
That's true. Yeah.
Mm.
Think about that one.
Okay.
A lot of times.
Little crumb right there.
So, okay, so in other words, anytime you go to the restroom,
Take a
just,
picture.
Just
Take a
take a
quick
picture.
picture.
Take a quick
Yeah.
picture of like, hey, this was clean.
Yeah.
This one's clean. Go to this one. But then everyone's gonna go to that one, and it's gonna get dirt. No, I'm kidding.
How dare you post about this restroom? It was a hidden gem. They used all the perfume. That was. It became
Not
more.
after I use it.
It became more of an expense for the owner because now he has to keep buying more.
But yeah, to get back to your question, it does take a lot. So I mean, I was trying to post 90 videos or so, a video every single day for 90 days, and I got to like 76.
Oh man.
And then I was like, okay, like mentally I'm fried. Like I feel like I'm not, like being connected. So I was like,
Yeah.
I just need a break. I didn't get to my goal, but it's like I just needed
Still
a break.
70 something?
Yeah, it was like 76.
Jesus.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm more over here trying to do one every other weekend.
Every other weekend, yeah.
And
Which
from there,
scheduling gets like complicated, and we're like, we
Yeah.
don't do another show for like a month.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, life happens.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Sundays are holiday. I don't know. Because Easter's coming up, right?
Easter's
Easter's
coming
coming
up
up,
next
so we're going
week.
to skip that one
We're
for
definitely
sure.
gonna skip
Yeah.
that one.
And then
I might have something going on. I
After
don't like. I
that,
have to.
yeah.
After that, I have to check in. Just with you, like.
Yeah, this is,
Yeah.
this is
I
the
mean,
hobby.
obviously, this is the thing is that this is our hobby, but we are also parents.
Exactly.
And,
Yeah.
and had we have not had this great idea, it would have been great to have this idea. But obviously, we wouldn't have had this idea without being parents.
Yeah, without kids, yeah.
When you, I know you already told me what made you think about it, but did you have your son at the time that you didn't?
So
You didn't.
I
Okay,
was,
so
I was single
Okay.
and I didn't have my son, so yeah, it was just me. So I had all the time in the world.
you did.
I had
Okay.
all the
Yeah.
time in the world.
And when
That's
when
so
did
different.
you start having like the most likes? Was this before you had your son or a little after?
Most likes.
Like when you started
Um,
seeing it, like finally like hitting off and stuff. Like
I
were
would
you?
say just recently.
So
Actually,
just recently,
Just
okay.
recently.
I think the ones where your fiance's in have a lot more likes, too.
Yeah,
I think it's the
that's
tattoos.
The tattoos.
the tattoos in a tattoos. That's why you're on the frame more often, dude.
I'm gonna go like this real quick.
This podcast is sponsored by
Tattoos.
that guy with tattoos.
Speaking of tattoos, Paso now has its first tattoo parlor.
They
place.
do?
Yeah, that's
Oh my
insane.
Where?
You know those not Sizzler, but the next like
Cool
like
Hand
building.
Cool Hand Luke's.
Cool Hand Luke's, you mean?
No,
You
it's
just
not that
aged
block.
yourself.
I know. God
My
damn.
dad managed
God damn
Sizzler.
it.
That's how we came here.
Yeah.
When?
Back in oh shit, man, how old am I? I just said it. I'm 33.
Mm-hmm.
When I when I was 3, we moved here. So like in the early 90s, my dad
90s.
managed Sizzler.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's how
That's
I remember.
crazy.
All those chicken nuggets were so amazing.
Dude, you know
I
what?
remember the mac and cheese. The mac and cheese was
You know
so
what's even
good.
better was when my dad had to go do. I think I haven't asked him yet, but I think he would go do inventory because he was always at work. You go inventory around like no, around like a day before Thanksgiving or something. And when he'd do that, he'd take us kids to go just like with him,
Yeah.
and the whole place was empty. I mean,
Oh,
both
that's-
floors were empty, and he'd go in the office to do whatever he's doing. We just go in there and play hide and seek. It was some of the
How
best freaking times
fun.
ever. Yeah,
Yeah.
empty, nothing.
And that's like a giant building.
It was a
and
giant,
yeah.
yeah.
And,
And
when
we
you're
would-
smaller,
Yeah,
everything seems
oh
so
man,
much
and like
bigger.
I think the only thing that we didn't go too much into was like the kitchen. But even then, like as a kid, for me, seeing anything behind closed doors is just magical,
Yes.
right? So like I see the kitchen and I'm like, oh my god, you look at like sometimes you could see like the door behind you. You're just wondering, like, I wonder what's back there. Is it something like amazing? Is there a unicorn there? I don't know.
Just having that information before anybody else or above everybody else is just like it's a high as well. Like,
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what's back there?
Yeah, you
I know what's back there. You
Yeah.
know what's back
Yeah.
there?
And the cool thing about it is later on, towards the end of the time he was doing that, he would turn on the fryers and the ice cream machine. And so like, dude, oh, I wish I could. No, my dad was very strict. Like he wouldn't have let us do that shit. I'd probably let my kids do. No, but probably not.
No.
No, never mind. I wouldn't.
At least, well, if
if
anything, like if Sophia was big enough and she like went and did that, at first I wouldn't be mad. I'd be like, you had the guts to do it. Like nobody else has. Now get over here.
It's the whole don't do that
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
You didn't
Don't do it
catch
again. Don't do it again.
Don't
Yeah.
do it again.
Don't do it again.
So you I know you have a girl and you have
Oh,
a
have
girl?
kids?
You have kids too.
Yeah, I do. I have 3. I have girl's the oldest. She
Mhm.
is 10, and then I have a boy. He's 4, and then another girl. She's 3. She just turned 3. So
Yeah, I ask him most of the stuff like as Sophia's growing.
yeah,
like,
that's
so
where we get.
that's how we started the whole 2 dads too. And I ask him these things, like, and you're like, don't worry about that part. I'm like, all right,
I mean, part of it
it's
kind
gonna
of
pass.
came out was like there's a lot more for like dads to talk about with girls because we didn't grow up as girls, right?
Yeah.
And that's part of a lot of my stories are so with my oldest. That's from a different marriage.
Okay.
And when we separated, she was 2. She was about to be 2. And whenever our custody battle was always 50, there was no custody battle. I always speak highly of my situation with a divorce and all that stuff.
How well it went.
Oh yeah, how easy. I mean, just not the easiest.
Then you hear some horror stories.
There's
Oh,
plenty of
yeah.
them.
He took the dog too.
I've had the easiest divorce story. I don't think it probably of all time because I've never heard anybody talk about it like
and I
that.
think people like, I mean, as parents, like we want the best for our kids, and like you're not gonna take someone's
Right.
like dad or mom
Yeah.
away. You know,
Yeah.
like they need
Well, you would
both
think,
of us.
yeah.
Yeah, you would think. I mean,
but then
the-
like emotions get involved. And,
Definitely.
yeah.
I mean, we made it to where only decisions are gonna be made are us. None of the courts got involved into it.
Oh wow.
No family interference, nothing. Like we really just made it, and we were young.
Yeah.
And you know we made it that way. It's helped out, and my relationship with my ex-wife is good. She's the mother of my child. I mean, you know, we can talk about Lexi, our daughter, like, hey, she did this. Oh, okay, she did this. Hey, can you pick her up? Yeah, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, can you watch her? I have something going on. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So it's been very easy. Our custody, you know, it's been 50-50. So, but anyway, my point was,
It's okay.
It's now a therapy session.
She just
you have
hey,
no idea how much this show
she
feels
deserves
like
some
therapy.
shout outs, you know,
Yeah,
for being so
how much
corporate,
this
you know?
this feels like therapy a lot of times.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But I mean, I was a 20-something-year-old taking care of this little girl, you know, and what we were taught as men did nothing for us by raising a little girl.
Hey, be where I can see you, and that's pretty much it.
It just nothing.
It's that, yeah.
So, you know, it was actually very easy to find a partner like Miguel when it came to this, because he has a girl.
Yeah.
You know,
Don't touch me.
You reached that age. It was.
I know.
You did reach out. Instant regret.
He didn't think I was gonna go for it. That's funny.
You know what's funny? I'm way too comfortable with my sexuality that even if he did touch my hand, it wouldn't have been an issue. But there's times where like, am I really like because in high school I had this friend who would like just, hey, hold my hands, like, what's up, baby? I'm like, hey, what's up? Like it was no.
I've had friends in high school where like I question. I'm just like, I think there might be like, just like, you know, where it's like too far.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Yeah,
It does. But you're okay because they're your friend and stuff like that. You know.
Well, I mean, there wasn't friends that like I normally would hang out with, but I'd just be like,
I didn't know when it's too far too.
There's a boundary that they cross that you're not okay with. That's
the next morning.
Like, you say
That was
this
a bad
little
joke.
too much.
That was a bad joke.
Okay, I just got that. I just got it. It was a boomerang for me. I went
during breakfast.
That happens to me a lot.
Wait.
I'm like, I get it.
Oh man.
How did we go from this?
So
This
racism.
is what happens. Yeah, I know. So
Yeah,
racism. Yeah,
so-
this is what happened.
So what
man.
is like one thing that you have learned from like being a girl dad, or like advice that you
For being a girl, being a girl.
being a girl?
I was never a girl before until I had my daughter. That's how I always say it.
Yeah.
I was never a girl until I had a daughter.
You had a daughter.
Because perspectives change
Yeah.
completely.
You know what? It's very interesting because we've talked about this. Like our parents, our dads, at least, they were so not as present as we are today.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes, we weren't prepared. We weren't, told anything. And so we rely a lot on our partners to be able to take care of certain things. But then when we're put by ourselves with the baby, there was this sort of fear at the beginning before Sophia was born, like, oh shit, like how am I going to do? Because Crystal was taking care of her another 3-year-old before. And he's like, do you want to learn how to change a diaper? And I'm like, okay. And then
Let's
somebody else's
do
kid
it.
was born, and I'm like, freaking like Resident Evil. I'm trying to handle a vial of virus or something. I'm just not trying to break it.
Spill it.
Yeah. And then zombies everywhere. So like I'm like being careful with other people's kid, but now when Sophia was born, I was like, bah, 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 like everywhere.
It's so
Felt
weird 'cause
so comfortable.
Yeah, I before having Jackson, I didn't like kids. I always said like I don't want kids.
Yeah.
I don't want kids. And obviously when you meet the right person, like they change your perspective. So like when we had Jackson, it was so weird because it was so natural, and like I wouldn't even hold babies, I was like scared of them. I'd be like, how do you do this,
I think that's the I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you, but that's like instinctual. I think
yes, like that
definitely
that mother
for a mother
instinct.
instinct, just kind of. I mean, we're already engraved with that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mothers are, I should say.
Yeah.
Dads kind of just are the protectors, and we're kind of engraved with
Protecting.
protecting.
Yeah.
But like going back to the how it was with a girl, like like I said, perspective change. I didn't know that you have to really keep it clean down there because more infections can happen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Rashes, infection. Yeah.
It's just anything.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I guess it really is that sensitive. Like I never knew about that,
Yeah.
and like that was just starting off with that for as a man, being raised to be a man, just complete like game changer for me.
Yeah. So you also have a son. So do you feel like the connection is different with like your son than it is with your daughters?
Which one do you like more?
This is a safe space.
They're not gonna be able to see this until like years later.
You know what's funny? What's funny is that like I spent a lot of time with my oldest because I was alone with her for.
And in a way, you guys like grew up together.
We did. Exactly. Now with my son, like there's just obviously it might have to do with like the combination of how different he is versus how my daughter's different.
Mhm.
But like my relationship with my son is great, but it's also like competitive in a way. But I feel like it's just our man like our boy like nature.
Yeah.
Like he'll come up randomly behind me and punch me, and then I run away, like right. And it's just like, and at first, there's times where it pisses me off, but sometimes I'm like, oh, that bastard, he got me, you know. And just like,
Yeah,
and like, and I'd be the
Catch
same.
him on the flip side.
Yeah, and I'd be the same way if my daughter did it, but like she never did it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know. But like I don't. To answer your question, like it's just
It's just different.
There's just
It's just
different
different,
relationships,
yeah.
and no matter what, if you have another kid, it's just never going to be the same as the other one. You might think it. You might think it'd be like if I raise them the exact same way, it's gonna be the exact. It's not. There's so many variables. There's so many variables that go into it that you just don't realize until you have another one.
So Sophia has short hair still.
Mhm.
I think Crystal said
She looks a lot like you, by the way.
She does, yeah.
Poor
She's
kid.
so cute.
Oh, never mind then.
Well, she also looks like her mom.
Every time somebody tells me that, I'm like, poor kid.
Okay, do you realize how sometimes awkward it makes somebody feel when you do that?
Yeah, I'm sure.
When you did it to me the first time, I was like, well, now what do I say to me?
No, she's cute. Thanks.
Yeah.
But so she has short hair, and I remember going to the grocery store one day, and I saw somebody. Sophia wasn't with me, or Crystal wasn't with me, and somebody goes. And someone's like, hey, how you doing? Oh, hey, what's up, dude? And he goes like, so how's your son now? And I'm like, well, she's, you know,
Yeah, we always have
she's
to
and it's like, oh man, so, and like, no, that's okay. She has short hair. She, Crystal's experience, she probably won't have longer hair until like
later,
a couple more years.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's just how she is. She has super curly brown hair, which is weird, but she has short hair. But once they start walking around and doing everything, she starts doing like the easiest way I can explain it is girly things. Like
yeah,
she starts. I don't show her, and like I don't walk around doing that. Crystal doesn't walk around doing that. So obviously there's some sort of either the video she saw or she connects with the girl
you
more.
watching telenovelas again?
No, Roma and Diana. She's watching Roma and Diana.
Oh, okay.
So she yells a lot. I know. I'm a monster. And like, no, you're not. You know. And so you would think she would copy both of them equally because she obviously we're not telling her that's boy, that's girl. She's just copying most of the girls. So she connects with her, and it makes me wonder is like, is it just like one of those things where naturally it's gonna happen where she'll do like little girly things and stuff like that? Because I don't know if boys do any kind of like.
I mean,
like
Jackson is like always screaming. He's always a monster or
Yeah,
dinosaur, but yeah, as far as I think it's just like a girl thing, you know. She's like,
it's just so. Here's one. With my son being the middle child, and he's surrounded by just girls. He has a younger sister and an older sister. One time my wife put on a bow to the youngest one, and he said, "I want one," and like. Sure enough, like he one time said that he wants to look like a triceratops, so he wanted three little like ponytails. Yeah. His hair is naturally just long. He's a pretty kid. Like I remember going back to that when he was little. All my kids had hair when they were born. A lot of people thought he was a girl.
Okay,
because he just always had long hair. So I mean, I don't know. It's just
so whatever. What do you do in that situation? Because I'm always like, I don't want to make anything weird, like.
Okay, so
ever.
So that's actually a great point because I was raised a certain way, and I finally got to a point where we're talking about breaking cycles, where I said I don't agree with that, and I'm not going to go with that. I'm going to make it my own.
Yeah.
Now, you can change, but there's still usually some like little like hint of your past self still there that you can right. Yeah. So that's usually what I call it. I call it Mexican conservative me. Was like is the old me. That's what I call it. Okay, because that was the me that was taken to church. I was Catholic. I say was because I don't follow religion anymore. I was Catholic. My dad was a traditional just man. Okay, so like.
Didn't pick up his plate type
No,
of
not like that. Not that kind. Not that kind. Not that kind.
That's
Not
a
that
jerk.
kind. Okay, not that kind. Like
Okay.
he worked and there's some things that I could tell he broke away from. Even like the his traditional like ways. He's not that kind of Mexican. He was actually the one. He cooked. I mean he cooks now. I mean he was the manager at Sizzler. Like one of those things that he does a lot of cooking. He wasn't one of those that just kind of seemed lazy. He would do a lot of things. With kids though, different story. He was more traditional. Like he never changed their diapers. He didn't do any of that. So with my dad, I've said it many times on the show here, but like I feel like at 5 years old I was already supposed to be a man.
Oh really?
Yeah, like I couldn't cry. I couldn't holding his hand was to cross the street.
No.
I couldn't hold his hand across the street because that's either gonna
don't do that.
Men don't do that, or it's gonna make me gay. One of those things, right? That's just what I feel was in those things because we were always raised to we don't play with dolls, we don't play with this, we don't do that.
Yeah, so that I feel like it must be like that Mexican conservative in me too because when my son was born, like my fiance and I had like a hard conversation, like what if he's gay, you know?
Yeah, it's a very
and he was like, so what? Okay. We're gonna love him no matter what, you know. And like when he was again the Mexican, that's perfect. When he was younger, I'd be like, no pink, you know.
Yeah, there you go.
And then my fiance's just been like such a good parent that I like. It took me a while, you know, like to be like, okay, it's fine, you know, it's fine. And he's always been like, it's okay. Like if he wants to play with kitchen stuff, it's okay. Like it's not going to make him gay, you know?
He might be the best chef in the world. That's
and now I'm like that too. I'm like, okay, if he wants to play with a Barbie, it's fine. Like I don't want to make it weird. And I think like you said, it's just like that mentality.
You have to fight it.
Yes.
And every once in a while it does come up because me and my wife have had that same conversation. Like, she's been way more open-minded for a longer time than I ever have.
Yes.
Right? Before I met her, had been saying to myself, I want to just, you know, I'm okay with LGBT, you know, Q community. I always get them mixed up because I feel like, and this could sound really bad for me saying, but I always feel like more letters keep adding. So I always forget like, okay, I need it's obviously my problem that keeps happening to, right? But I support it all. Like I used to not.
Yeah.
Okay. I was raised that, you know, being gay was kind of bad. Like, you know, God doesn't like gay, like all that stuff. I got away from that earlier on, even before my wife. My wife's been more open-minded. One thing I credit my wife is how much she's been able to help me look past a lot of that stuff. And then to her, if he wants to play with a doll or for me, the dolls and stuff, nothing. But like when I'm like, he's gonna walk outside, like I will admit he was gonna walk outside with a bow. I'm like, nope, old conservative you it's that's what's trying to come out. Like you just remember that's not what's gonna make him.
Yeah.
And if anything, I think it's like back then it was like it wasn't really so much about the kid being a certain way. The parents took it upon themselves that people are gonna look at them badly.
Yes.
It wasn't so much
reflecting on the parents.
Reflecting on the parents.
Yes.
Miguel, and I'm not sure if you remember this, but I remember this might have been on Miguel's Moments, one of my first episodes with you.
Uh-huh.
We were talking about like being polite around other parents as kids, and you said it the best. It wasn't really so much about us; it was for them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was.
Well, whenever let's say I show my mom this podcast and I show her the video and stuff like that. ¿Quiénes son sus padres? That would be the go-to question.
Because whose parents they
the parents knew each other.
And then that you like, they make a judgment on
it was I'm like, you don't know them, Mom.
Yeah. Like, what do you care? I'm not going to spend the night at his house.
I'm like, they live over by like Drake Creek. Oh.
It's just all this judgmental stuff. And like, you know, how do I react when that happens? I have to check myself.
Yeah.
When all of that stuff happens.
And I feel like that shows growth as an individual.
Of course. It's for sure. But like we have to make it a point that that's just what we're okay with. Mm-hmm. But we have to also be okay with like knowing that we have to fight back. Old urge is not the right word, but like
old urges. I want chocolate right now.
I have to fight that back all the time.
Same here.
When you're talking about tacos and beans, I was like, that's making me hungry.
I should have had breakfast.
Hey, bus driver, can you take me the tacos and beans then if you're already on the conversation?
You see Mexicans watching it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Put some pinche madre.
Yeah. Fuck.
Freaking make a sandwich instead.
Yeah. But yeah, in those situations where he does want to wear it, I'm like,
Yeah.
just no, he's fine. Even if he does. And I've thought about it too. Like, what if he were to come out one day and say that he's gay? Of course I'm loving him. Of course I'm treating him the same. I've just never dealt with that.
Yeah.
So how am I going to deal with it? I don't know.
moment.
Obviously, it's going to have to be in the moment. I'm going to have to get away with it, and I'm going to have to really work hard on myself to not be like bothered by it.
What my fiance had said too was just like, if he is, you want him to come to us, you know, and not hide from his parents or like hide from his home.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, you want them to be happy.
Exactly.
And that is the hardest thing to remember, is that you want them to be happy, because we've talked many times about how we were not given the choice to do a lot of things growing up, you know, Mexican conservative for us. There was a lot that I feel like I wasn't given the choice that I can do now.
Yeah.
I know how that felt, finding my own happiness, kind of like taken away or being told. I don't want that for them. And if it means that they're going to go a different lifestyle than what I was used to, and they're going to be happy, then I'd be wrong for them to be trying to take them away from that.
Yeah.
You know, it is not my life. We're here to direct them into, like, you know, better situations. But maybe you can take it as like learning. Learn something from that, you know?
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's difficult to put down your past self.
Yeah, for sure.
I think as long as you're like, take those few seconds to like think about what you're doing or saying before you do it and say.
That's the hardest thing.
It's
But like
gonna
you said,
help.
it's in the moment.
I know.
Like,
Yeah, sometimes you're really in the moment. You're like,
Yeah.
You know.
How many other parents with kids do you see when you're central coasting with Adri?
I actually see a lot of we have a group of friends who's like family, and they live in the 5 cities, and they all have kids. So like whenever we do stuff, like there's like a big group of us. So I do see that a lot. But then sometimes like on my videos, I get asked a lot like, oh, is this a kid friendly location? And I'm like, actually, I feel like
that's a good top 10 to do. A kid friendly. Have you done something?
I have done like kid friendly locations, like wineries. Yeah.
Okay, that's a great one.
Yeah.
I think there's gonna be a lot more kid-friendly locations in the near future because everything's just booming. I think there's a brewery kind of opening up on Spring Street. Those old apartments used to be.
Yeah, Paso Robles, like brewing company or something.
Yeah. I'm surprised nobody's done that there because this is a big space, it's like outdoor space.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's like where the old what was it? The car dealership for those really
car
fancy
dealership.
cars?
I think it was a nursery at one point, like a long time ago.
That place, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's nice. And then there's just like so many things coming up to.
I know. I hear so many locals getting so upset. Like anytime there's a.
Well, we're definitely getting touristy.
There was an article on TripAdvisor like a few years ago saying that one of the top 10 destinations in California was to go to Paso Robles, and there were people hating on it.
Remember the New York Times? They voted Paso. I think it was like 2000.
Oprah one time said this. I had a friend that lived here for a little bit because he got hired for work and he moved out here. And I was like, hey, how'd you get? My question about Paso is I've lived here forever. I'm always like, how'd you hear about this place? Because it was always like a whole, like you miss it. You miss it. You miss it on the off ramp, you're gone. That's it, right?
Yeah, we have 3 off ramps north.
Yeah. And I asked him, and I was like, he's still my good friend. He lives back in LA now, but I asked him. Remember, I was like, how'd you hear about that? He's like, oh, when we're thinking of like places to go, we saw Oprah had said like one of those, Pat, like because of wineries. He's like, we're going there.
Wow, that's crazy.
It was a while ago. I mean, it's like 7 years ago or something, but still, like.
I know. Well, I mean, I grew up here too. Like, so I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, and we moved here.
No way. Okay.
Yeah, we moved here when I was like 6 months old.
Uh-huh.
So I've been here like my
Your
whole
entire
life,
life, yeah.
you know? And I go downtown now and I'm like, I don't know any of these people, you know?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, it's way more new faces.
Yeah.
But when you go to like the restaurants and the workers,
you know
I
the
recognize
workers.
them.
Yeah.
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 The great thing is though, like I actually before the show I was talking to Miguel about this, how like it's still a community. That's what the great thing
is.
about it. That's why
Yeah.
I kind of really like about this town is like you know somebody that's doing something, and in turn it could help you out or like
Yeah.
promote other things or whatever. Like with our last guest Tommy Booth,
Yeah.
in Wine Boss, like I was like, hey, that's cool. Now we have him on the show, and like since we're all trying to do our own thing
Yeah,
here. I mean, even with you,
Yeah.
like you're an influencer. You do guides or whatever you're listed on or whatever. But like we're doing a podcast, like
Yeah.
it just kind of like
Like you said, it's like that sense of community and you see it everywhere. You see it in like the wine industry and like the beer industry. It's like everyone really wants to see everyone succeed, you know?
And that's why I understand how you like doing what you do.
Yes.
Because like you're promoting other things. You like this place.
I love this
place.
I read a quote like a long time ago and it says, "Do you ever wish you could hug a city?" And I was like, if I could give Paso Robles like a giant hug, like, I love this place. Like I want, I'm like raising my family here and like, not just Paso, but like SLO and everything,
I mean, I can say it for myself. It is so cool going to the same school system, had been going to the same school system that your like kids are doing now. Yeah. Because my daughter goes to Virginia.
What teacher do you have?
No. So
crazy,
last year there was a teacher that I had in 5th grade and my daughter had in 4th grade. And like, she's like, oh, she's my very first grand student. That's what she called it. Yeah, exactly. And it's so cool because I can, one day we went for like parent conferences and I walking around with my daughter and I was like, hey, Lexi, that was my 1st grade classroom. And I used to walk over here. My friend Daniel did this over here. And we just, it's really cool.
It's like
to
a beautiful
do that.
thing.
It's fun to do. Oh my God, it's so much fun doing that.
Yes.
Hopefully you both will be able to experience that pretty soon.
Yes.
Especially like when it comes to school.
Derek does want to move back to the 5 cities, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm trying to convince him to stay.
Beat all the Bearcats, Cougars, and
not those Cougars.
No, not those Cougars. Bearcat, Bowers Spec.
Great. Oh no, Bearcat.
Bearcat was high school.
That's high school.
Oh,
Bobcat.
Bobcat. Sorry,
Bobcat.
Bobcat, Cougar, Flamston.
Panda Bear was
Louis Leopards.
Louis Leopards. Panda was Virginia Peterson. Pat Butler's what, Bear?
I think they're Bear. Yeah.
There's Bear.
Kermit King is a crab.
Oh, I thought it was Kermit the Frog, but no, I'm just kidding.
I think it is a frog.
Oh, really?
Is it a frog?
I'm pretty sure it's a frog.
I don't know why. Maybe I saw some like a restaurant menu that said Kermit King or something.
Every time I hear Kermit King,
Frog,
I'm always thinking Kermit the Frog. Yeah.
Kermit the Frog here.
Kermit the Frog. Oh, horrible impression of myself. Okay. Hey, can we edit that part?
No, we're not.
No, but yeah, Paso is like an amazing area, and
it still has a lot of room to grow.
A lot.
Oh, plenty.
I just the last Paso Robles Chamber seminar or meeting that they had at the Park Cinemas, they were talking about like the airport 5 years from now is going to look completely different.
Really?
Yeah, probably.
Just wait.
Well, do you guys listen to the Where Wine Takes You podcast? You guys should. So, it's with the host Adam Montiel from, I think he's, what radio station is he on? I know he has like his own thing, like Cork Dorks or something like that.
Oh, Uncorked?
Maybe. But he has like a bunch of different owners come on and they just like tell their stories of like why Paso, why did you come here, like how their winery started.
Oh, okay.
And they were saying that like we're supposed to be getting in like a rooftop, like another rooftop bar, like how much there's like
it's gonna grow.
Be an expansion.
It's
gonna be insane.
Yeah.
Better get those networking now. And
I know.
I mean, I mean, really, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do a show with them.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. What made you start the podcast? There was when I moved back, I moved away to manage a movie theater in Lemoore, and when I moved back, wine industry is not what it is today. It was like 2016. It was like literally like I could see it doing this as far as blowing up and stuff like that. And there was actually like a brief moment where I actually almost made my own brand of wine. And the buy-in was like $3,500. That's it. To just start going. Yeah, it was this process called like custom crush, and they pretty much take grapes and then they obviously you walk through with them and they make it. You know, you taste it and everything, make sure it's good, and then slap your label on the bottle.
Miguel's own.
Yeah, and I had the name and everything. Danza Wines. I was really into like dancing, right? Salsa dancing and stuff like that. And like the wine was, we're gonna call like the specific moves in the dance.
Oh, that's cool.
Like crossbody lead is a move. That's gonna be like a full body red or something.
You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that idea is dead.
I know. But now that I put it out in the world, it's probably gonna happen. Somebody else.
Right? Yeah, somebody's gonna copyright that.
Copyright it now.
Yeah.
I feel like from what I've learned, like about wanting to start, it's like just start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
no. That's
I feel like I contemplated starting like what I'm doing today for so long, and it's just like if I could give myself any advice, like just
start sooner.
You know, if you fail, you fail, but like you're gonna learn from it. Like
I highly feel like start with no expectation.
Exactly.
Right. Don't say like I want to be the biggest. You know,
no, just start.
Podcast here, or I hope to have 1,000 followers. Like, you know, you don't burn yourself out in the beginning.
Exactly.
You just start. If it kicks off, you got something good. If it doesn't, it was a fun time while it lasted. It was a fun
time, and I mean, I don't have that many followers, but like the experiences and the connections that I've made from like other people in the area, or even like subscribers telling me about like their engagement story, like that is like amazing.
Well, it makes you feel any better to us. You're like, you know, because I mean, even to me, when Miguel said like, oh yeah, I have a friend, she's an influencer, I was like,
we gotta get her in.
Yeah, no. So I was like, okay, he sent me a video and stuff, and I was like, God damn, she has that many views. I was like, holy shit. And like to me, like it was like, it you know, we're here, and you're like a little, you know, you're a little.
I've gone noticed one time in public.
Okay.
And I was at the Cliffs, and the guy was like, I was like walking in my car to get Jackson a toy, and he goes, Adri? And I was like,
do I know you?
Hi. And he's like, you're Central Coasting with Adri? I was like, yeah.
So that's cool. I mean,
and it was so cool. And like the impact that he had on me, you know, like he's like, I watch all of your videos, and he was like with his family, you know.
Yeah.
I like walked away and like cried a little bit. I was like, oh my God, like it was so special to me.
What's funny about being recognized or getting a compliment or getting anything in public is we kind of look at the views a lot on our YouTube,
kind of.
The listen, we
kind of,
all the times like, we got another subscriber.
Yeah, no,
sorry, that was Crystal.
So many times, yeah.
Yeah, so
thank you, Crystal.
But the funny thing is, like, compared to how many listeners or unique listens we've had, like what it reports on Anchor, I've had a lot of people. Hey, I like your podcast. Hey, I like your podcast. Hey, I like your podcast. You know, just
for hours.
Yeah,
really.
That's awesome.
And they don't follow me on Instagram or anything. They just later on, it's like, hey, I like your podcast.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Keep it up. I'm like, oh, what the?
Okay. Yeah. So like,
do you guys feel? Oh, sorry. Okay.
No, go for it.
Do you feel like, so you guys, obviously you guys share this on your social media and stuff. Like, does your family and friends, do they support it? Because I always see like posts like, oh, your friends posted Rihanna being pregnant 1,000 times, but she's never once posted like your small business, your podcast, anything like that. Do you guys see that you guys get a lot of support?
We haven't got many reposts, but I feel like if I start really focusing on that and looking at that too much, this is going to
beat ourselves down.
It is going against to how we want it to come out.
I can tell you this much: my own family probably hasn't listened to it.
My own family actually most likely has, but like let me put it this way: I don't go around and be like, hey, I have a podcast, listen to that as in a pod. I don't have a card and like give it off to people.
Yeah.
Sometimes I forget to even mention it.
It's all about QR codes now.
Right? Okay. Yeah. Okay. My bad. Sorry. My age. Sometimes I forget to even like, just like, it's not, if I'm meeting somebody new, it's not podcaster. Like, if somebody says, what do you do? I'd be like, oh, I work for this company, such and such. I don't say, oh, and I have a podcast. I don't feel like I'm there to do that.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But I was in Texas a couple weeks ago. My best friend's wedding. He was getting married. One of our other best friends, my other best friend, he came with me. We went together, and we're at the rehearsal dinner, and we're meeting people. We're meeting the bride's party. Well, I already knew most of the groom's party, but like we're meeting all that. You know, we're all just talking about here. His fiance, my friend's fiance, says, how's the podcast going? I already knew she knew. You know, I already knew.
Yeah.
So how's podcast going? And I'm like, oh yeah, that thing, you know. And then people hear that and they're like, oh, you have a podcast? Yeah.
What's it about?
Yeah, what's it about? And like whether they go into it or not, it's that's not the point. The point is that somebody else brought it for you. I don't have to talk about it because other people have been doing it for me.
That's
My
cool.
friends sometimes will just be like, hey, that one funny thing that you guys said on the podcast, and then all of a sudden people are like, oh, you have a podcast.
Yeah.
So like I texted Miguel the other day and I was like, dude, I didn't have to mention it once and it got brought up.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
it feels great. Yeah, we haven't been spotted.
Yeah.
Like I said, we already know how many people we have subscribed.
Yeah.
Of course, we would love to have more. You know,
Yeah.
we know it takes time. We're not even in our first year.
Well, it's
Yeah.
funny. We want to get more people in here as guests and stuff like
Yeah,
that. But the first people that pop in our head is like our own friends.
it's our own
you know?
friends. But
Yeah.
but with this community sense that I always feel that we have, people are more likely to get involved into it when
Yeah.
they're involved.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And if somebody wants to watch an episode because this person's episode's no different from me watching a Hot Ones episode because my favorite rapper is there.
Yeah.
Right. And I may not listen to any other episode there, but because I know somebody or somebody I like or something, hey, Pharrell's on there, but fuck yeah, I'm going to watch that. Right.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of feel with like if we get more people in here to talk, other people are going to want to watch. And
Yeah.
then they might stick around and watch
And
most
watch
of them.
some more. Yeah. That's very true.
Have businesses reached out to collab with you yet?
Trying to think.
Collab means collaborate.
Collaborate. Yeah.
I am aware of that. This is our collaboration. So.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not, I wouldn't say like not really, but like when I go into a business and they know me, like I feel like they'll hook me up, like
Yeah.
I just went to the Alchemist Garden, and I
Mm.
mean I love the Alchemist. I feel like as soon as they opened, I was there, like I wanted to support them, and I just went with my friend Betsy, who owns Stellar
I know
Cellars.
Betsy.
Yeah.
I know Betsy.
And
Who owns what?
Stellar Cellars, the charcuterie business.
Oh, okay.
She does like grazing tables.
I didn't know she
You
did
guys
that.
should have her on here. She would love it.
Shit, that'd be a quinceañera reunion right there. She was my partner for a
Was
quince
she?
back in the day. Yeah.
That's funny.
That's funny.
I love Betsy. But I mean, like the owner like came over and we were just talking, and so it was nice. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the whole point. Like,
Yeah.
That's
like,
the whole. And then like the other day, I went to like one of the At Her Table events, and this Latina winemaker, her name is Nancy. She reached out to me and she was like, "I would love for you to come to like this wine event with me," and I was like, "Yeah, of course." So I guess like small collaborations. Yeah.
how do you? So I know you listened to a couple episodes, just kind of like to get like going with
Some
like,
research.
How just some research.
No.
What would you, in your opinion, what do you think is something that we should do?
Honestly, I think what you guys are doing is great. I feel like it's honest, it's like real and raw, and like you guys are talking about like real life things, You're not filtered. It's like it's honest. And I feel like in like the social media age that we're in right now, I feel like it's kind of starting to die down, but like people are getting sick of the filter, Like
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
know the truth. I want to know like your real story. So I feel like what you guys are doing is really great.
Yeah, I see a whole bunch of social media influencers, like they're going bankrupt trying to keep up their lifestyle or something like that.
Yeah.
Or their family, they post like things like they're so happy, but now like they're divorced or
Shit,
like all these crazy
I'd be
things.
happy just paying off my house and being done.
You would think, right?
No, I don't know.
Yeah. No, and like I feel like when you listen to a podcast, you want to feel like you're having the conversation with them,
Yeah.
like want to
Mhm.
feel like you're in the room, and that's what I got from you guys, like listening to it.
Okay, I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody's there in spirit.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna turn it around. What do you think? What do you think I could do?
God,
I tell you all the time, so
Yeah.
I'll let him.
I mean, I had no idea that you're doing the like kid friendly one. I think what you're doing is great. I mean, the fact that I hear that you have so many other places to go, I'm just like, then there really is. I'm barely even scratching the surface whenever I go somewhere.
Yeah.
I honestly think you're on the right track.
Thank you.
Like I said, when Miguel says there wasn't really much that Miguel said. It was like, oh, she's trying to be an influencer. I was like, oh, okay. And then once he sent me one of those videos, and I'm just like, trying. She is. So, and then that's when I was like, how long has she been doing this? And I'm like looking at some of your older posts, and I'm just like, she clearly is. You're clearly on something, and yeah, I think this county is a great place because I still go place to place asking people, do you even know where we're at? Like, if people say, where are you from? I sometimes just say Slow County. Yeah. Just so they can barely even maybe get the idea of where, because even then people are like, where's that? Central Coast.
But now Paso Robles is
on the map.
And on the map,
little,
right?
Our little hometowns.
And if not, I go, I'm like, we're like 3-4 hours away from San Francisco or 3 or 4 hours away from LA.
Oh, right.
That's how I like, that's how I gauge it.
Well,
so
on one of my TikToks, someone was like, where is this?
Yeah.
Are you in California? I'm like, yeah, we're right in the middle.
I say, and like I said, if you have more to do, then just keep doing it. I think you're on the right track.
Thank you.
You definitely have found something that.
I think you start a podcast and I can help you with that. I'm just putting
I know. My fiance, he's always like so encouraging and like supportive. He's always, because I was like, dude, I got asked to do a podcast, and he's like, that's awesome. And I was like, and he's like, you should start one. I was like, what would I talk about? He's like, dude, whatever you could do. TikTok, Instagram.
You can have the business owners that you already make
make
connections with. You talk to them.
It's exactly. And it's funny how this one started too. It was kind of like that because Miguel,
you came on mine.
I came on his just because he was like, anybody want to do one? And I was like, this sounds kind of fun to do. And
then
did it.
And then we talked after.
And he's like, you ever thought of doing it? I'm like, I don't think I can do one by myself.
Yeah.
But I had the idea of what I would do, and that's how this one came up.
Yeah.
I even had a different name for it.
What was it?
Dad Diaries.
Oh yeah.
Diaries.
Yeah, and all I asked, because I was trying not to impose, but all I asked Miguel was like, a segment would just be fine, where I would just think of something that's happened with me and my kids and just talk about it. And I already had planned out like which ones I could talk about, and eventually more would like keep coming.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, dude, I'll do it with you.
That's awesome.
That's how it just, and it's just like, just kind of networking again.
Networking,
it just kind of
He went for it,
don't pull it back this time. Don't pull it back. I'm not going to be fooled, but don't pull it back this time.
He almost went for it.
I almost did, but I'm like, I don't want to be shut down again.
Every time I like do anything like that to Crystal, she goes like, why do you make that face? Like some weird, like when there's music, I always go like why are you biting your bottom lip? I don't know. It just happens. But no, I think starting period is a good way to end this podcast, to be honest.
Perfect.
But yeah, no, just starting.
You have an idea, just try
anybody
it
out there, start your podcast, start your YouTube video.
Try it out.
Just do it.
Everybody already has a YouTube channel, but they just haven't posted anything on there.
Yeah, just do it. Mine was just putting in a video, making music just for my own listening pleasure. That was it.
Yeah. And I mean, there's so many people in this world that they'll find something that attracts you, to like one another, and like they'll connect with you. Yeah. Just do it.
Just go at your own pace, and if you got something, you'll know you got it.
And if you need help with podcasts, let me know.
Yeah.
I have the equipment. I've spent a lot of money on all this stuff, so I can help you.
Do you wanna ring the chime for us?
Oh,
I don't know which one was it.
Wait, I have a final question.
Okay.
How do you guys say Paso Robles?
I say Paso Robles.
You say Robles?
I say Robles.
I'll answer this, and then I'll ask you a question.
Okay.
Paso Robles.
I say Paso Robles.
Okay.
Robles.
Is it just something you thought about? Because I had this weird conversation with Crystal the other day too.
No, because people always like, it's Robles. I'm like, technically, it's
Paso
Robles.
In reality, it's Robles.
Yeah,
in reality, it's Robles. I have this thing for me where, since I'm bilingual, I have this thing that if I'm talking English, I'm going to go English all the way. If I'm doing Spanish, I'm going to go all the way, because
Spanish.
what I gets really annoying is when I say it in another way and they can't understand me until I say it.
Till you say it, yeah.
It happened in Mexico. Like, a really short story. Happened in Mexico to me when I was younger. There was I would go play in the arcades all the time, and one of the store owners, because my mom knew them all and stuff back in the day. I'd be like, what do you like to play or something? I'd be like, oh, I love playing Metal Slug. Me gusta mucho Metal Slug. And he's like,
what?
He's like, ¿el qué? I was like, Metal Slug. I mean, yeah, that's how I'm gonna say it.
Yeah.
And I was like, Metal Slug.
Metal Slug.
And he's like, oh, sí, el metal. I'm like,
Yeah.
So, and it happens when I'm doing it in English. I would just, if I'm talking in English and have to say a Spanish word, I hate going into like the Spanish voice because then I feel like I'm being uppity about it, like being like proper about it. Like, because so if we're gonna talk about piñatas, like I just did now, I'm gonna say piñata. If I'm not gonna be like, yeah, so went over there, I saw a Peppa Pig piñata. Like it just.
Oh yeah.
For me, it makes me feel weird.
To be honest, there's been times where I pronunciate the correct way, and you can kind of see who the person talking to is. Like they pay more attention because I'm like pronouncing it the right way. Yeah. Like if you go over there's some pretty good tacos, and
I hate doing that. It's
and you get it, and then you can also order a flauta with.
It's a me thing.
But it's true because like I feel like we all speak Spanish and English. Yeah. Very well, so like we don't have an accent, and then when you say a Mexican word, it's like, oh wow, that's like really Mexican.
I've been told I sound white, so
I mean, same. Yeah.
I worked at a factory when I was 18 for like 6 months, and I was talking. It was all Mexicans in there besides me and Tom, and we were working there, and I was talking to them in Spanish, and they're like, "Eres nacido aquí?" And I was like, "Yeah." No se nota. Like they can. Apparently I don't have an accent, so
I have it,
score for me.
My pigmentation and that I'm in the middle somewhere. I'm gonna get this or I'm gonna get that.
Yeah.
So you figure out which one.
I don't know. I think you want to press that.
Just press one of them.
Press it.
Just press this.
It's
one.
our.
Because this one's the.
That's go for it.
That's a.
I want the.
Nothing.
I don't think that has.
It's this one right here. That's our time is up.
Time's up.
So
yeah,
thank you.
I'm
still keeping that one. I'm still keeping that one. I think it's just funny. I think it's just funny.
Well, thank you, Adri. Again, what's
your handle?
Yeah, go ahead. My Instagram
and YouTube
handle.
Too.
Oh, my YouTube. So Instagram handle is Central Coasting with Adri. TikTok handle is the same, Central Coasting with Adri, and I think YouTube might be the same too, Central Coasting with Adri.
It's on your Instagram anyway, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody go follow her, give her shout outs, give us shout outs.
Yeah.
Tell her if you visit the places she says.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for that restroom one.